Hello, first of all, Happy New Year. This is the first episode I'm recording in 2024. But let's not waste too much time with this, and let's just go straight into funworld. Yeah, so I changed something about the setup again. That's kind of my thing. I just change something every time, and won't know whether it's good until I listen back to it. So that'll be fun. Well, while we're waiting, we're almost not waiting anymore, but we'll wait for this stuff to load. You can subscribe if you haven't yet. And today, I was thinking we're going to talk about parasites. Or more specifically, the Meguro Parasite Museum. A difficult word. Basically, so the way that we learned about this, I mean, I had seen it on Google Maps before, but Ruth, Sarah's sister, was watching House MD, the TV show with Hugh Laurie about a doctor who's actually, it's very, very Sherlock Holmesian, just that he's a doctor and he figures out illnesses. It's kind of famous. You probably know it. didn't need much of an introduction, but yeah. So she was kind of rewatching this, and in it there is one episode where it turns out the person has a tapeworm, and that causes all of the strange symptoms that the person is experiencing. And they say in the episode it is the longest tapeworm ever recorded. And then I think Ruth was going like on Wikipedia, and there it said, this is actually false. The longest tapeworm ever recorded is displayed in the Meguro Parasite Museum. And since we're living relatively close to it, she's like, oh, what a coincidence, we should go. Then the big question was, do we go before or after lunch? both comes with its own problems, as you can imagine. But we decided to go before, and just yeah, it's pretty cool actually. So it wasn't very far, so I could actually walk to it. I mean, well, it depends. It took me about like 25 minutes, so depending on how far you are willing to walk, it might be far to you. But I'm like willing to walk like an hour in Tokyo, so it wasn't bad to me. What did I want to do? Here we go. Let me just quickly do a little bit of Minecrafting before we get into it. Oh no, wait, I can use this thing. It's such an interesting new development. I think like it feels like it's very much for like consoles and stuff. This search box that didn't used to exist when I first played. Oh, wait, I had... okay, that's more than enough sticks for anyone who ever needs them. Why am I doing this? Okay. Lots of mistakes were made, but that's okay. What I want to get is pickaxe might be good actually. Let me see, what do I have? Two of these. Okay, because I'm thinking like, what should I do with Minecrafting? And one of the things I wanted to do is like make a huge, what do you call it? A quarry, like a where you extract stones and things like that. So I was thinking I could just make. Where is the pickaxe? Am I blind? I mean, I see the iron one, but oh, okay, here we go. So I need a pickaxe and I need shovels, I think. So that seems good. That seems also good. This is like, the anticipation for. I think wood is fine for this kind of stuff. Actually, whatever. We have enough stone. Let's just go with this. Okay. All right. You can never have enough shovels. Okay, now that I teased you long enough, I should say more about the museum. So, the thing is, the nature looks so good, but like, I mean, maybe here though. What do you think? Oh, there's already a massive hole. I mean, that's basically what I wanted to make. Well, I guess I can just continue. Yeah. Just get the stone from here. Yeah. So one of the cool things about this museum, there's a few cool things. But one is that it's free, which is nice. I like that part. It's not quite working out how I want it to go. I want to make like a nice little quarry. Ooh, chicken. Yeah, so, man, I should go spelunking sometime. But for now, let's make a quarry here. Let's just make it here. This looks good. Yeah, so it's free, and I thought because like it's kind of a weird museum, and it's relatively small. I thought it wouldn't be very busy, but actually it was surprisingly full. Like, and people were coming and going. There's definitely like some Parasite fans in Japan, and like some of them were just like looking at the same Parasite specimen for ages. So I mean, maybe they're students or professionally interested in it. They did say on the website that they are doing like talks, and they do research and things like that. So I think they're kind of involved in the parasite research community. So probably like, students and stuff would go there. Although there were also just like people, older people, I guess, like parasite otaku, that kind of thing. Oh, I should sleep. I did a good day's work, then I'll sleep, and then I'll do more. Do this while the sun is setting, and I'm watching it. Ooh, beautiful. Oh no. Yeah, I definitely need more tools. Okay, do I have any? Okay, I'm gonna sleep. Sheeps. Oh, and I need to eat too. Oh my god, there's so much going on at the same time. Yeah, the other thing that's really cool is it's just like, it was the passion project of this one guy. I forgot his name, his first name, but Kamegai is his last name, and he was like a researcher and what do you call these people? Parasitologist. And yeah, he basically like created this whole museum, and with like a lot of his specimen, and like made it open to the public. I mean, they appreciate donations, so we did donate a little bit. But I don't know, it just seemed really cool that you could access it like this. So the way that it's set up is that braid is that in the bottom, like when you enter it, there's mostly parasites that attack other animals, not humans. They like the hosts. I guess it was a lot of fish and stuff, and so they're all in like glass bottles, preserved. And it is kind of a bit stomach churning. You don't have to, you know. Maybe it was a good idea to do it before lunch. Like some of them have like full fish, and they're like infected by a bunch of like worms and things like that. Yeah, it's quite a ride. But yeah, it's interesting. A lot of parasites are obviously very small, so some of them are put displayed with like a magnifying glass, so you can look at them better, which I also thought was cool. It's kind of the whole museum has like a really old feeling. Like it doesn't feel like it was made yesterday, which it wasn't. It was, I think, made in the 50s. But it does feel like kind of like from a different time in a way. And I did really appreciate that as well. So yeah, I did like the first floor, but I think the second floor was much more the most interesting to me. Because well, humans, and so when you go upstairs to the second floor, one of the first things you see is like these massive 3D models of parasites that attack humans, and I mean it's kind of fun. Like this is clearly like a bit of a newer thing. I think they're like they 3D printed them. And there was actually an advertisement for the printer of these models. So it's a nice collaboration they got going. So I quite like that. And then one of the other things I think that was kind of interesting to me is like they had like, illustrations of like the life cycle of these and how they basically, a lot of parasites have multiple hosts that they go through, like especially like fish, and then they go to humans or like bears that eat them, and they had like illustrations of that. That was interesting. And possibly the most like kind of disturbing thing, but also like fascinating in a way, was one specific parasite. I mean, I should have written down some names, but you have to go to the museum. Some things need to be left to the imagination. Yeah, one of them was like a parasite that causes an illness which kind of attacks the lymph nodes, and it looked, I mean, it was terrible, right? Like, I mean, people have problems with lymph nodes now, but this one looked particularly bad. And I guess like I mean I don't know if it's the same thing as like what they call elephantitis or whatever, but they had like illustrations of, and I guess this is as a guy it was particularly interesting. They had like so they had two things basically. They had a photo of someone in the early 70s suffering from it, which had like basically their penis was massively enlarged, like I don't know. I mean, like not. It was just like a mass of flesh, basically hanging all the way to the floor, and so this was like a not recent but relatively recent image. And then they had also an Edo drawing, like an ukiyo-e drawing of the same affliction, where someone, like in that Edo style, like somewhat cartoonized, well, somewhat very much like ukiyo-e art kind of was. I think it's ukiyo-e. I'm not sure. I'm not a specialist in this, but it had the same affliction and was like carrying his penis around with another person holding them on a stick, like kind of so they could walk. It was, I mean, it was interesting, really, like to see it going through the ages like that. And then, well, one thing that was actually kind of good about this museum, a lot of these parasites that they were showing, obviously quite Japan focused in a way, but at the end they said like, oh, this is where the parasites were in the early 20th century, and then 1970s eradicated. So you're like, oh, they're not here anymore, thank God. Kind of, that was a good feeling. I'm sure they still exist in like less wealthy places, at least some of them. So, but from a purely selfish point of view, that was quite nice that they are not something I have to worry about right now. On the second floor is also the thing that we kind of came for, which is the longest tapeworm in the world. I took a picture with it. It was, zombies. I would not say it was cute, but it was it was interesting. It was like, curled up because it's like, oh man, I even forgot how long it was, but insanely long. And funnily enough, like compared to the house episode where the tapeworm caused a lot of problems, the person who had this tapeworm, well, the longest tapeworm in the world, it grew basically in 3 months. He had like some raw sushi that had had the eggs in it, and 3 months later he noticed that in his stool he noticed that there's pieces that are shedding. That's kind of also what you see. I think that's one thing I knew about tapeworms as well, that they like kind of shed their pieces. They look a bit like scales, like one scale after another, and I think that's how they grow. And so, oh Jesus, that's not what I want to do. How do I get rid of this again? That's not ideal. Oh, okay. What is this? Enter? Oh, okay. It was the easiest one. One could have expected it. So far, this is a dirt quarry, not a stone quarry. But yeah, anyway, so he only noticed it because like it shed pieces in it, which is something they do. They're very like kind of scaly looking. They have like a tiny head at the top and then a really long like tail, and they kind of flaying out and stuff. Yeah, they look interesting. But yeah, so he only noticed it because of this. He had absolutely no other symptoms. And then the guy that actually made I think the one that made the museum, he's like, yeah, well, let's get rid of it. And so they were able to get it out. I think they just gave him medicine, and he passed it, and absolutely no problem. And that kind of made me also like feel a little bit better. Not great, it's still not good. And you hear the stories of people like using tapeworms to diet, which I'm not sure is true or makes sense. Oh, finally some stone. Ah, wow. This is, by the way, it's going to be my escape. All right. Oh, the music's beautiful. But yeah, so that was kind of like, oh, okay, it's also not like fatal and terrible. All right, here we go. Is there anything else I wanted to say about this Parasite Museum? There is actually, and I had a list. This time I made a list. Oh, there were two cool things. So first, there was also like information about the guy who made the museum, and like generally research in Japan on parasites. And there was like, you could see like him having so many specimens of like blood and stuff on these kind of little glass things that you use for, what do you call them? I forgot the word. The magnifying things. I'm I'm blanking on it. But like the things that we're doing a little bit of a charades thing, the thing you look through with your eyes, and it makes really big, not like a magnifying glass, but really big. It's a microscope. I hope you got that. Yeah, so he had like hundreds of like boxes with these blood samples and different samples, and like they were kind of displaying them, which was really cool. And then the last cool thing was the store. Like it was kind of like also like very small cherry rig kind of thing, but kind of cool. Like they clearly were selling some stuff in the store. Basically, they had like, I would say like 3 main things. They had t-shirts, which were kind of cool. I mean, they were a bit too small for me, but I could have imagined getting one of those. And then they had like books, textbooks, and also books for like children to learn about parasites and these kind of animals. One of them was like disgusting animals. Are you brave enough to read to the last page? Like aimed at kids. That was so funny. And then the last thing they had, and this was a banger. This was the money maker. I'm pretty sure was like real parasites that were in like resin or something like that, and then as a keychain, and people would go in and they actually like they gave them like a magnifying glass and like a lamp to like find the perfect parasite that they want to get, because you get a real one, right? So each one is different. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, definitely it was fun. I would recommend it to anyone who wants to go, and anyone who doesn't want to go, I'd also recommend it to, broaden your horizon. Either way, stay spoopy, friends, and I'll see you in the next one.